I'm here with Pierre Lemieux, who was a candidate in the CPC leadership race. You've now been disqualified, but I have to say, it's not bad news. You finished in 6th place, ahead of big heavyweights like Kelly Leach. I think you were the wild card for a lot of people inside this room today. What did you do? How did you do it so well? Where did you come from and where do you go from now? I got all these questions for you. So Pierre, I want to start off with first, a look back before we look forward. What was this race like for you and what do you think worked?
It was such a great campaign, and you know, I would have liked to have lasted longer in the ballot process, but I know I ran the best campaign I could possibly have run with the support of my wife, my children, Steve Outhouse, and my campaign team. We poured everything into this, and our messaging was solid, and we saw it last night. When I gave my speech, it was the best of speeches, and the audience loved it, and I know just from the comments I received that what I was messaging was resonating with Canadians, and that's what I saw across the country. This idea that social conservative values, that faith-based values, and people who value life from the moment of conception through to natural death, these people are a strength of our country, they are a strength of our party, and they have spoken tonight in how they voted for me and how they voted for Brad Trost, and we should be really, really happy with these results.
It's amazing, you know, out of the top 6, 3 of them are social conservatives. And,
yes.
and to me, that just proves, I'm calling this the SoCon spring. Regardless of how things are, I'm calling it the SoCon spring. But look, I'm looking at all these media risers over here. They're going to say it's an example of how the conservatives, they're bigoted, but that's not what people heard when they heard you speak. There was something about the way that you were able to frame the debate, where like you said, it was resonating with Canadians. You appealed to things like democracy. So where do we go from here? How do we harness what you started and go forward?
Yeah, so actually, just let me take that one step further. So like, a lot of the people that voted for me moved into Brad Trost's vote count, and he rocketed up, and then those people have moved into Andrew Scheer's camp. So this is good. Like, this is a tremendous outcome. I think people who have these values have been validated in terms of you can have politicians that speak this language, and you know what, we can do well, and we can represent you, we will represent you. So I think that that's great. In terms of moving forward, I just think people who have these values must continue to make their voice heard, just like they did tonight. They made their voice heard in voting in this leadership race. Make your voice heard in the next general election. And you know, I say that people who have these values, faith-based values, social conservative values, life values, you must be politically engaged. You really must. We have God-given rights, but our ability to live them freely and express them freely, it's all political, right? It's determined by laws in our country, by motions, by initiatives of government, and so we need to speak up, we need to be politically engaged, and look what can happen. Like, look what can happen, well, it's great.
You've led me into my final question, I have to ask it. Full bias, I'll admit it, folks already know on The Rebel, I endorsed you out of the gates. I loved your message, I loved your message, I love the way that you present it. And so I don't want to see you go away. Are you going to remain politically engaged going forward to the next election?
I am very open to running in 2019. I really am. I've learned, you know, Pierre Lemieux used to have a 5-year plan, and then I realized Pierre Lemieux can't see into next week, really. So I am very open to running in 2019. I've really felt that politics has been a very good fit with the talents that God has given me, with the skill sets He's given me. I think people like my style of leadership. I'd like to bring that back, but of course, we'll see when 2019 comes around, but I'm very open to that.
You served our country for 20 years in the military, 10 years as an MP. I'd love to see you continue to serve our country, and thank you so very much for your important role and voice in this race.
Thank you, Faith. Thanks for having me on your show.
Ooh,
I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, thank you.
All
right,
thank you.
For The Rebel.media, I'm Faith Goldy. If you enjoyed that video, click like below and subscribe to Rebel Canada.